I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Arthur, I'm the son.
And together we are Family Plot. So you got the spooky noise this week.
Yes.
I get it next week. I have a really good evil laugh. They're all gonna like it.
Cool. We'll look forward to that.
They've heard it before. They're just playing.
These are October laughs.
Yes. Well, it is spooky season, and we've got a pretty good spooky season lined up for you. I mean, we already started it early, taking phantom trains, but we just got off those phantom trains, and now we're standing in front of haunted Weston, Missouri, at least in spirit.
Yeah, well, it's an easy spirit journey for us to make, as it's only about a 20-minute drive.
Yes.
Drive. Obviously, we live in Missouri.
Well, let's get the housekeeping out of the way very quickly. First and foremost, if you want to help us out, a couple ways you can do that. Patreon is a monthly donation, and since you asked, why, yes, there is a contest. If you are a $1 donator to our Patreon account, that helps out me and Arthur, the male end of the family plot spectrum. And if we win, you get a very cool prize.
From me!
But the $3 donation level, that goes to Mama Laura and little Lexi.
Little Lexi. And Lexi's going to make you all a special video if our team wins. So definitely a very exciting reason for everyone to support. Hey, you could probably talk her into making a video for you guys.
No, I don't. How dare you?
Maybe you should make a video for you guys. That would be exciting.
Yes. If you cannot do a monthly donation,
we definitely understand that.
You can always do a one-time donation of $1 or $2 through Buy Me a Coffee. Excuse me. Wow. Not really a belch, but one of those sort of backwards, inwards belches. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, no, I've been having those.
All right. If you enjoy the show, please share it on social media.
Share it with friends.
Share it with family. With everyone.
And if you don't enjoy the show, please keep it to yourself.
If you can't say anything nice,
don't say nothing at all.
And that raspberry still wasn't real good.
Nope.
Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, I'll tell you.
What are we talking about today?
In 1819, a group of Frenchmen gathered around a creek with a tavern. It was a small cluster of colonists on the Missouri River near Fort Leavenworth. This community, with some fits, starts, and a few changes of location, grew up to become Weston, Missouri. Weston went through lots of change before becoming the charming village it is today. However, that charming village is not just home to some great people, but several people who used to live there and seem to not want to leave, as their spirits make a lively home in Weston in this little bit history, a little bit ghostly, mostly Missouri, spooky season episode of the Family Plot Podcast.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yes.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So why don't you jump right in and give us a little bit more of the history of Weston itself.
Happy to do so. And I will say most of this comes from the Weston Historical Museum's website. So thanks to them for having all this information.
Head on over there and check them out.
Yeah, it's rare we get such deep info on a haunted location. So I was really happy to find all I did. In 1819, a small creek on the Kansas side of the Missouri River, just across from what would in just 18 short years become Weston, Missouri, was inhabited by a group of French hunters who ran a tavern on a small creek that they dubbed Pensino Creek, named after another French hunter and trapper who had journeyed to Salt Creek, Kansas, along with the migration of the Kickapoo. Now, the Kickapoo are a tribe of Native Americans that their reservation was here for quite a while.
Right.
In 1827, the Army established nearby Fort Leavenworth, which turned the little tavern into a popular place for soldiers.
I would imagine so.
This easy access to alcohol created many problems at Fort Leavenworth, and so they took jurisdiction over the land so that they could enforce laws and perhaps keep their soldiers from drinking quite so much.
At least that was the ideal anyway.
That was the theory. It is interesting to note that they really interfered with the running of the tavern very little. However, the presence of soldiers in uniform performing official duties drove the rougher crowd off, and Pensino Creek was no longer popular. It's almost like the rougher crowd is what made them popular.
Well, you know.
In the 1830s, a retired dragoon, and I never knew this before, so I'm going to share it with everybody. A dragoon is a mounted soldier, so named because they were armed with short carbines that emitted a gout of flame when firing a bullet. These carbines are often referred to as dragons, while the mounted soldiers who carried them were called dragoons.
Didn't know that either. That's some cool information that we learned.
Yeah, isn't it?
I swear if that little heathen jumps on me once, I am going to bop you in the nose for waking him up. So Arthur has a new family member that he adopted recently.
Yeah, my son.
And Arthur's furry son that he has named Thunderstorm has a cold. And Thunderstorm and his cold have been up my butt and around the corner the last 2 days since his daddy had to go back to school.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. So, this dragoon was named either Joel or Joseph Moore, and he purchased a plot of land that would become Weston from a trader named McPherson, who had a trading post near what is today the McCormick Distillery site.
Is that like McCormick the seasoning too, or McCormick vodka?
McCormick vodka.
Oh, okay.
Not the seasoning.
I thought they were talking about the seasoning too, so, you know.
You can see we buy more seasonings than vodka in this house. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Joseph purchased the land for a barrel of whiskey and immediately set out to establish a town.
Oh.
He hired fellow military man Tom Weston to do the laying out who worked in this now, and he worked in the same regiment as Colonel Carney, who's the namesake of another Missouri town.
Yes.
Immediately there was a buzz about the town and people started buying up land. Two of the men who came to town were Ben Holliday and his cousin Bella M. Hughes. Holliday initially purchased a shanty on what is now Main and Short Streets at the location of what is the House Shoe Store. And he built a 2-story home and opened a drug and sundry store and eventually became Weston's first postmaster.
Wow.
Bella opened a dry goods store in what is now the corner between Main and Thomas Streets. Joel decided to name the town Weston, as it was, at that time, the westernmost settlement where trade was available.
Makes sense.
Which is weird because there was a Tom Weston who worked on it. I wonder if they, he was a weird guy. We're just naming it after you, Tom. Gee,
Possible.
thanks.
It's possible.
Now, I lost a sentence in there. Help! Help! I've lost this. Okay, good. Joel decided to name the town Weston, as I said. Weston was outpacing both St. Joseph and Kansas City in initial growth. However, in the 1850s, a series of fires plagued Weston, and shortly thereafter, the Missouri River changed course, leaving them without a river port. These days, Weston is a small town. It has a historical museum. One of the largest structures in Weston is the St. George Hotel, built initially in 1845. It burned down around 1890 when it was rebuilt. It was eventually closed in the 1940s, but was reopened in 2006 and is still open to this day. William Franklin Cody, who would grow up to be Buffalo Bill, lived in Weston briefly as a boy. His uncle ran a business in town, and his aunt can be found in the Laurel Hill Cemetery. I hope she's dead, because otherwise she's been there a long time.
Yeah, a really long time.
A really, really long time.
So that's a lot of history, and maybe we should take a break from all that history and
let Arthur regale us with stories from his corner.
Yes.
I like that idea.
Also, we should send Blue to get Alexi.
Yes, we should.
Very lovely.
So, tell us all about your little heathen that I'm
This little
about.
heathen?
That little... He knows you're going to tell all his secrets. He literally just put his paw over her mouth.
Hear ye, hear ye! Allow me to present Arthur's Corner.
Over his mouth. Just, no, don't tell Daddy.
Tell them about my evil plans, Dad.
My aunt used to call little puppies, little kittens, even little children, honyaks. It was her word for little annoying thing or little funny thing or whatever. But yeah, I've taken it referring to him as the honyak because he is the smallest thing living in our house right now that has been invited in. I mean, there might be a bug or two that we didn't invite in, like a fly or something, but he was invited and he is the tiniest thing here.
Yeah.
In fact, he is terrified of the bunny, who dwarfs him by at least 2 times, maybe almost 3.
Yeah. She's a big girl.
She weighs at least twice what he weighs.
Yeah. So basically, this little silly has been taunting us. He sleeps to get evil little plans. I was talking to Mom about this earlier. She sent me a picture of him. I'm just like, he's sleeping so he can think of evil plans. His master evil plans.
Master evil plans.
I don't know what they are, but he does tell me he has them. So, whatever they are, I'm sorry in advance.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
You're welcome. I think most of his evil plans are farting on people.
Yeah, he's stinky.
And pooping in the litter box and stinking it all up.
Yeah, he's a smelly boy.
He's very smelly.
He also has a cold. He's very snotty.
And he has a squinky eye.
He does have a squinky eye.
That's part of his cold, his squinky eye.
His squinky eye is part of his cold. How rude! I did not ask you guys how you were. How dare I?
You're talking about your little heathen. Why would you need to ask how we are?
I mean, you're my parents. That's fine.
Appreciate it.
I'm pretty good. I haven't got to spend as much time with your mom the past couple of days as I've been used to because she's been back at work. But by the same token, I was able to put next week's episode on paper, which, woo, that one.
It's not gonna be fun.
No. This is spooky. Next week's episode is downright sinister. So yeah. So, but yeah, so that wasn't fun. But I got to get out with Mom and get some coffee. I got to see Grandma for a minute. That was nice. Oh, and I also got to spend time with you guys this weekend at the Ren Fair.
Yeah, we went to the Renaissance Festival, guys. Unfortunately, my mask decided to broke mid Renfest.
But we did get some pictures, and I will try to get them posted in the group.
Did get some pictures, and I don't know, they might be pretty cool. Let's see, what else did we do? I complimented another Therian because their mask was pretty. I wish my mask were that pretty. Seriously.
Lexi got a crown.
Yeah, Lexi got a free
circlet.
crown. I also got a $45 tail from my friend.
Yes, that's amazing.
Because they went to the Renaissance Festival as well. And I'm pretty crazed out about that. But
pretty awesome.
It's pretty wacky, yeah. And I don't know, we had fun. We saw a parade going through the Renaissance Festival.
Awesome.
How dare you nibble on my finger, good sir? And Mom looks amazing in Lexi's crown.
Da-da-da-da.
You are the queen of family plot.
I try.
Does that mean I'm a prince?
Yes, sir. You look amazing in Lexi's crown also.
Yay!
It's very flowy.
We like flowy things in this house.
Yes.
And my cat wants to play with it. How about we not?
How about we not? We'll all get in trouble if you start playing with Lexi's crown.
Yep. I think that's about it.
Sure.
That's it for your corner?
That's it for the corner this week?
Yeah.
The corner has been downsized.
Yeah, it's been downsized a little.
Well,
I'm a little tired, guys.
Let's
a cute corner, not an obtuse corner.
Yeah, it's not obtuse. It's not. It's a cute. It's
here.
Cute.
Let me demonstrate what happens when I put Thunder's head in my mouth.
Right there, I have a shoe on. I will kick you.
So Arthur does not approve of Dad putting Thunder's head in his mouth.
Which I've only done once. I always threaten to because I love seeing Arthur's reaction. Mostly because that's my love language is, I'm gonna pick on you. Hey, stop. You love me too.
Strange but true.
Strange but the actuality of life. The circle of life.
Well, how about you, instead of singing Disney songs that we don't have any licensing for.
Mom laughed.
Yep, I understand. I totally understand. I'm with you on that. Mom shouldn't have left.
Think you're throwing me all the way under the bus.
I was saying Mom laughed because I thought it was fun. But, okay, Mr. calling Mom out and throwing her under the bus while taking her weave off. Wow.
Yeah, like, I didn't even know I was wearing a weave, and you just yanked it all the way off.
Exactly.
I was just teasing. Gosh, guys, you know.
And we're teasing back. Whoa.
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 Maybe instead of all this teasing...
Maybe I should get to this, huh?
Maybe you should tell us about one of the haunted locations in Weston.
Sure. The Main Street Galleria?
Galleria?
Yep. And tea room. That is what we're talking about. I don't know why I finish sentences like that. It's the tism. In 2014, the Main Street Galleria, I was 5.
Yes.
Either 4 or 5. And Tea Room was owned by Verna Kowitz?
I think it's Cowitz.
Okay. And she swore her business was haunted. She believed that the spirits were ghostly remains of Frank Leon, aka Bino Hillix, and his wife Creola. Like Crayola, but Creola?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
Like Creole, but with an A at the end instead of an E.
Okay, makes sense. According to what we know, the Hillixes ran a drugstore on the location for many years. While she only feels Bino, Creola has spoken to her. Upon climbing up the stairs to an upstairs room, she heard a female voice ask, "Who's coming up here?" Frank Leon bought the drugstore from his father-in-law, who operated it for several decades. He and his wife were well-known people who would reach out to the sick in their homes to make sure they had the medications they needed. Frank Leon died in 1958 and Creola some years later in 1973. Since 1995, when she purchased an antique desk, she noticed a new presence in her shop. The desk had formerly belonged to a Civil War captain, James McCarty. And while we know little of McCarty's life history, we do know he is still making appearances at the Galleria. The current owner says the spirits are harmless and fun. Those visiting the Galleria and the Tea Room have reported seeing a woman in older clothes and a man dressed in a livery of a Civil War soldier.
Wow, that's crazy. Should we take a moment for a word from one of our fellow podcasts?
We should, but actually, we're going to have 2 words from our fellow
Ooh.
podcasts this week. Yeah, one of the regular ones that we've been doing in rotation, and then a new one, a movie podcast that reached out to us and asked if we'd like to do a promo swap, and I told them absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we will have.
Positively.
So we will be doing 2 indie podcasts in this little space.
Excellent.
If you like weird, spooky, and strange history, then I have the podcast for you. My name is Brenda, and I'm the host of Horrifying History. Are you into the dark side of history? Horrifying History tells you about the side of history that people don't normally talk about. We tell the tales of haunted places, infamous true crimes, the paranormal, and unsolved mysteries, and then we look to history to see where the truth actually lies. Want to get spooky with us? Get your Horrifying History fix by subscribing today on Spotify, Spreaker, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Dave,
Liam,
it's a trailer.
Watch It If You Can podcast. Join us for each episode as we create box sets of our favourite films and TV shows.
We go through the cast to see what else they've been in, along with any recommendations.
We pick our favourite characters, performances, moments and highlights from the soundtrack too.
We ask if there's anything to make it better and look at the lasting legacy of our pick.
We have a little fun with our quickfire round, and finally, what else would you like list based on themes from the episode.
Maybe, just maybe, you should watch it if you can.
What if they've already seen it?
Well, you can watch it again if you can.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's exciting.
Heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff. Also, my cat.
He's really not that heavy,
He's not,
but he's very snotty.
but a snot is.
He ain't heavy, he's my kitty.
So let's talk about another local home that's renowned to be haunted. This home is owned by Terry McKenzie and his wife. The couple purchased this older home in Weston, believing it to be a beautiful, older model home. It began when they were taking pictures of some furnishings, and looking at one of the photos, they saw a man and woman who definitely had not been there at the time. They were dressed in clothing from the 1800s, and their reflection was caught in an antique mirror, though no one but Terry was there at the time. As they begin to renovate the house, they begin to see strange people and animals that were not there, as well as floating red eyes. Strange voices and noises would wake the couple up. Terry McKenzie was the first to experience the hauntings, and initially his wife chalked the events up to the imagination. However, she has experienced enough that she will not stay in the home overnight. She says that the atmosphere in the home changes overnight. During the day, the house feels playful, fun, airy, free, she says, but at night, it becomes spooky and sinister. They open the home for tours and other events, but they do not stay there. We have not included the address for 2 reasons. 1, to limit the number of amateur ghost hunters who attempt to explore the property without permission, and 2, it's easy enough to locate online.
Now, before we go to a word from our sponsors, but one thing I wanted to say, we have nothing against ghost hunters. I used to ghost hunt myself.
Ghost hunters are really cool.
But amateur ghost hunters run the gamut from bunches of idiots who should not be at other people's properties to committed, caring groups really seriously looking for proof of the paranormal.
Sure.
And if you are the latter, zero problem with you.
Right.
There are enough of the former that
we don't need to make them making other people's lives miserable easier.
Right. And I kind of suspect that the group we talked about last week that got hit by the train was probably more the former than the latter.
Yes.
Because while I don't like Zach Bagans, I think if he had been standing on a train track waiting for a ghost train and felt that track start to rumble, he might have got his team off the track.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's not my favorite person either. He's a little bit of, let's just say, I feel like he's overdoes it a little bit in certain areas. I think that's fair.
That is.
And he is definitely not my cup of tea, but I do not think that he is a stupid man.
No.
And I do not think that he is an amateur at what he does.
Yes. And
in
that's
the ghost hunting world, you have to be very careful with things like this.
A lot of things, not even
not just
like
this,
that.
but like I'm talking like just this in particular. Right. You have to be really careful with what you do and where you go. Like if it's a lighter haunting that is not as sinister or as like creepy or scary or even deadly, then yeah, it's fine. You can go when you're an amateur ghost hunter. But if it's something serious, like something serious that can hurt you or even cause your death, no, don't do it. Don't, especially not if you're an amateur. If you know what you're doing, even then be severely careful. But if you know what you're doing, you can do it because it's you. It's not anybody else. As long as you don't bring other people with you that don't want to go, and that's fine.
Right.
And the other thing is if you want to know whether or not you are an amateur ghost hunter or one with some training and some forethought, ask yourself if you're ghost hunting in a place where they know that you're there, or have you snuck onto the property illegally to ghost hunt with either the owners having told you no, don't do it, or having not asked them at all.
Yeah.
You have to ask and make sure it is okay.
If you are doing it, you are definitely amateur.
Consent is always number one. If you do not have consent,
that was one of the things that we said multiple times over the weekend. Consent is required.
Consent is the most important thing in pretty much any situation.
Yep, definitely.
Consent and communication, two most important things in life.
Huge.
All right, so let's take a moment for that word from our sponsors.
Well, my cat has no consideration for the sponsors at all, but I do. Thank you, sponsors.
I feel sponsored.
I do too.
And Thunder maybe feels sponsored or feels dirty. One of the two. We can't tell.
I think he feels a little sponsored and a little dirty at the same time.
Or a little like Grandpa's annoying him with a pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's take a moment and talk about the St. George Hotel. Built as it was in 1845, many believe that several ghosts have made their residence in the hotel. The most commonly reported ghost is that of a little boy that seems to haunt rooms 302 and 303. The boy is often seen hiding, heard laughing, and steals small items from guests, hiding them around their room. I would love to stay at this place, by the way, not just for the ghost, but it's beautiful. Now, would I stay in room 302? Absolutely. Absolutely. This ghost doesn't seem at all harmful.
No, not malevolent. No,
yeah.
Absolutely.
No one seems to know who the boy is, but he's been seen at the hotel for longer than anyone can remember. In fact, a couple years back, Fox 4 might have got a video of him through the window. He overall seems to be a good-natured spirit and was captured on camera some years ago, and that wound up on the local news, as I said. Other guests have reported hearing children playing in the hallway, and when they opened the door, they found nothing, even when it sounded like children were right outside the door. Some of these stories, of course, have the obligatory going down to the front desk and being told, sorry, there's no children in that hallway.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Which sort of leaves chills down your spine, even if you know they're not malevolent.
Absolutely. I don't disagree with you.
In addition, a woman is seen in some of the rooms. The people who see her report feeling cold if she is near them. She wanders the room as if looking for something. There is also a smoky gray or black shadow figure that has been seen at the hotel. The people who have seen this figure say they feel a very intense sense of anger or curiosity. This figure is often accused of moving things like shower curtains and other loud things. Those who have encountered this ghost seem to feel like they are being accused of something.
Wow.
I think it would be a good time to take another word from our sponsors.
Yes. Not that we need it. I don't think we're going to go crazy long this week like we have the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But, yeah, having another one wouldn't hurt, especially now Spreaker, our host, has recently changed things up and once more add breaks than they used to, so having an extra never hurts.
Absolutely. Hey, babe.
Yes.
I feel sponsored.
Yay.
You know what I feel?
What?
Sponsored too.
Oh, I thought you felt a cat on your chest.
I that too.
I feel like reading this last section.
Go ahead.
So, just like Fort Osage, which we covered, if you remember back in episode 48, Weston is a place where ghosts have been seen walking down a public street. Others have been seen in homes, and others still have been seen at the Laurel Hill Cemetery. Weston is a place where the dead still seem to hang around. As Dean called out a little while ago, it's a place that some of our local news agencies on their own spooky seasons in the past have gone to Weston itself and done multiple news stories about the hauntings that have taken place there. And Weston themselves had no problem taking that history in and accounting that back. They are a town where they're proud of their history. They're proud of the fact that they're known for their ghosts. And that history is on display. At the holidays, they celebrate everything in an old-fashioned way. They have their Apple Fest in the fall that we talked about is a fun way to enjoy the fall months here. If you're local out of Missouri, you maybe have been to Weston's Fall Fest. So if in the fall you like that time of year, you can definitely visit Weston and have a spooky Halloween themed adventure.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. Weston is an interesting town. I didn't know anything about its history. I used to live in Platte City, which isn't too far away, and I had a friend who would perform there because she did Celtic music. And she played a cello and played Celtic music. She was in a Celtic band, and they often played up in Weston. And there's a bar there that does a lot of. I want to say it might be near the McCormick Distillery because it might be one of those like McClegg's place. It's got that faux Irish pub vibe.
Gotcha.
But I also briefly had a comedy show room there. For a couple of months, I would bring a comedy show in. And we did okay. But Weston is definitely very proud of its history. The person I've spoken with the curator at the Weston Historical Museum, super nice dude. Actually, you know what? We've only spoken by email, so I'm not sure if it's a dude or a girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could be both.
Could be either, could be both.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, there are gender fluid people.
Yeah,
so.
I was going to say, have you met?
Yeah, okay.
But, it's a lovely town.
It is.
But I would really like to get up there some weekend and just float in the fall vibe. I know, for example, they have their cemetery stroll once a year, which is where they set up these walking tours. And everywhere you go, they've hired these actors to play people from the town's history. Really? Really, Thunder? You think so?
Yes, I think so.
Wow. Thanks for your comment. I'm not sure if any of our listeners speak kitten, but if they do, I bet you that'll help them.
Definitely.
Anyway, like I said, Weston's such an interesting place, and the thing is I didn't know it until I did the research for this episode. And it's amazing to me that it really sort of started as this little creek with a tavern where the local military post was like, yeah, we got to stop the soldiers from going there.
Y'all need to stop going there, okay? And if you won't, we'll just make you stop.
It does bring us to the final thoughts section of the show. And I will reiterate what I said maybe before we got on air. I don't think I've said it since we've been on air. But Weston is spooky. It's not
very much that, like, Maine feeling, that kind of wooded area, slightly secluded. very fall, very that kind of vibe. So it makes total sense. How I think of it, if I had to describe it in my mind to try to explain to somebody else, it very much has that fall Beetlejuice kind of feel. It has that Sleepy Hollow kind of vibe to
Yes.
the area.
Yes,
It's
yes.
very much like that woodsy, Vermonty, very quintessential fall wooded area.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see the part of town that used to abut the river, because you can tell that it was once a riverfront town, but the river moved in the 1880s. So, which is weird to think that that's what rivers do. Is every so often they will change course.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, it's happened several times.
Yeah, especially the Missouri. The Missouri gets sick of its bed and decides it's going to move or get a new one.
Yep. We have major flooding and it just totally reroutes itself.
But the other thing is like I said, Weston is spooky. Weston is the kind of spooky that you enjoy with a cup of hot cocoa or maybe some apple cider.
Absolutely.
You know, talking with your friends in the cold air, watching the breath puff out. You know, it's not. It's not like, oh, this place is where 3 murders happened. It's not that kind of spooky. It's not that sort of woo ha 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 kind of spooky. It's more.
It is that fall, that quintessential fall feeling.
Yeah, that
hay rides and apple cider sort of vibe, not murder sprees and gang violence.
Yeah, it's the Great Pumpkin sort of speed.
Did you intentionally do that?
I've been needing to all day.
Yeah, it's got that Great Pumpkin feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
Like if the Great Pumpkin was a thing, this is where you'd go for it. And they even do like, and part of that is just how the town embraces it. They know their history. So they do a bang up job having like an 1890 style Christmas downtown.
Right.
You know, so, and it's interesting to see them preserving some of the ways people used to do things back in the 19th century.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, here now in the 21st, so.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts from you, Arthur?
I want to go stay at one of these places.
I don't.
Like really cool.
There is a like Motel 6 or something right off the highway, not officially in Weston, I don't think. There probably is a better breakfast or two. But we could see what we could do.
Yeah, no. Heck, like I said, well, when I was looking at the St. George, it's actually not really expensive.
Maybe we should look into that.
Because it's not only run by a local business, but also like Missouri Conservation is in on it as well.
Cool.
So yeah. But yeah, it just.
And if the owner of the St. George hears the podcast and would like to extend an invitation, we would definitely be interested. Reach out.
Yep, absolutely. Other than that, I have no doubt believing that this place is haunted. None at all. Because, I mean, all sorts of stuff happened there. I mean, history happened there. And history is what tends to bring us ghosts.
Right, absolutely.
So, I do feel a little bad for Tom Weston, because I bet you no one told him the town wasn't named after him. And I bet you he spent the rest of his life, there's a town named after me somewhere.
I hope you're wrong. I hope they really did name it after Mr. Weston.
I planned it out, and then they named it after me. I don't get it.
Well, start getting it, or else you're going to be really far behind.
Well, the thing is according to what we read, it's not named after him. He was named because, well, it's the westernmost place that people can get their supplies. Let's go to Weston, which basically means for a minute, Weston was the country's best best version of California that they had at that point.
That's freaky.
We want to go west. Let's go to Weston. What about California? Oh, no, that's dangerous.
No. We're not going there yet.
It's weird. It's weird to think of that, but I know I can't really see it, but and this is probably stupid on my part, but after having driven across this country several times, I feel like you can definitely see where things left off for a while. There's still a big open area of space that you literally can drive for days and see nothing.
Yes, there is. And I'm always surprised there's not more towns at the bottom of mountains, because if I were a settler, I was coming up and I saw the Rockies, nope, far enough. I don't need to go up there. No.
Me too.
Okay, that is enough for today.
I would imagine that it's probably hard for multiple reasons to live at the bottom of a mountain.
Probably, but I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, creepy creatures? Hello? Yeah. We haven't fully explored the forest, thank you.
True.
Or the mountains.
But yeah. And if they're doing the cemetery stroll this year, I wouldn't mind doing that, because I love the idea of running, like Robert E. Lee is one of the characters that they have.
Neat.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that sort of historic thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Those historic walking tours are pretty cool. All right.
That brings us to the end of our show.
Well, no, I was gonna say, what are your final thoughts, dear? We got Arthur's.
Sorry, I was giving mine. You and I were discussing, and then we pulled Arthur in.
Yeah, we were, but Arthur and I both set out and said, well, I think this, I think that. You have just agreed or disagreed. We don't have an official statement from, Laura.
So we were talking about it. I was going to say, I guess I can say this. This is kind of jumping back into the final thoughts. I actually think I remember going into the little inn,
mm-hmm.
the inn that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the Apple Fest up there, when Dimmix was little.
Oh, okay.
I actually kind of remember going into some of these really old buildings on kind of their main strip there during the Apple Fest. And so it's kind of cool to me that I feel like I may have been in one or two of these areas because I was down there for a festival one year.
Right. And that reminds me, we did get a review. Now, it was 4-star. I'm not upset with it, but we did get a review on last week's show. It was 4-star, but it wasn't 5 because they felt like we didn't give the skeptical perspective.
The skeptical perspective.
What's the skeptical?
That's true. So if you are skeptical, and if none of us are skeptical, I mean, I guess that makes sense, because we didn't talk about different things that it could have been. We just focused on the stories of what had happened. But I think when we're telling stories about experiences, I mean, I don't know that I feel like we have to tell a side of, but what if that didn't happen? Maybe people were just seeing lights on the water, or maybe people were seeing holograms or light anomalies or whatever. That seems like a lot of what ifs.
Here's my thing on that.
Mhm.
The skeptical perspective is good for certain situations, and I understand talking about it and going deeper into that. However, it's not quite necessary if it's already been proven for the most part.
And the other thing is, this is spooky season, so I
We're
have.
not really going into the depths. We're having fun talking about the creepy stuff.
And
on
we're going to
the-
defer to the creepy in spooky season.
Yep.
Yeah, unless there isn't. Well, a lot of people say it's obviously this, and it makes sense. I'm not going to include it. Why?
Absolutely.
Because. And the thing is these are cherry-picked stories. There's a lot of them out of Weston. So these are cherry-picked stories, and I am not going to take anybody's story and go, well, this isn't true, or this couldn't be true, or whatever. I will say one thing, and that is in the case of the Mackenzies and their home, they don't get any money for opening it up and letting it be used for tours and stuff. They didn't buy it as a tourist stop. They don't make money off of it. So what are they getting if all the stuff they've said isn't true?
True enough.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
What are they getting? Well, they're getting attention. Attention that apparently the wife doesn't want. I mean, she's the one who says that she won't stay there overnight.
Yep.
Her husband, Terry, never said that. And it's weird that that's the only person who's like, oh, this is creepy. I don't want to be anywhere near it. So I'm not going to go, well, this is clearly just them lying, because I don't know them, but I certainly don't see any support for that theory. They're not getting anything for that lie. And people tend to lie for reasons.
Random lying just doesn't seem right.
So
In
if
any
the
shape or
husband and the
form.
wife tell me the place is creepy, I'm going to believe the place is creepy.
Right.
Enough things have been there. Enough people have died there. Enough stuff has happened there.
Right.
There might be some ghosts lingering. And then with some place like the St. George, we've talked about it in other episodes. A lot of times ghosts don't come back to the place they died. They come back to the place they enjoyed.
They
Yep.
come back to the place they feel the most attachment with.
Yep.
And so,
The afterlife.
like that hotel, sure, St. George is haunted. I bet some people loved that place back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Met the person of your dreams. Had the most amazing night of your life.
Yeah. So,
Consummated your marriage.
yeah.
You know.
Well, remember, this was America's West Coast for a while.
Before she killed you after the honeymoon. Well, we do talk about
Yes, we've
true
talked
crime.
about. Well, like the Benders were in Kansas, and that wasn't too far away from this.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's our show.
Yep, that's our show.
That's our show. I did it. That's our...
Thanks for listening. Thanks for keeping us in the Good Pod's Top 100. Even last week, when our numbers went down, or the week before last, when our numbers went down,
Hey.
we were still in
the top 100. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. Thanks for joining our Facebook group, hosted by our own Laura June.
Yes, we love the Facebook group. Come join our Facebook group. We would love to have more of us in there.
Further, want to say thanks to Blue Bose for stepping up as our sound engineer. He's responsible for the steamboat sound you're hearing leading us back into the show.
Awesome.
Thanks to Bill Barrett. Let me spell that last name. Behrendt. Bill is the guy who did our theme music. If you need music for a project, Bill's your guy. If you need someone to perform at an event, Bill can do that too. He's also one half of the Rusty and Dusty podcast, so check him out. You can reach Bill at billbarrett@sbcglobal.net. Thanks also go out to Paige Elmore of the Reverie Crime podcast. Now, in addition to about 100 or so episodes of the finest crime podcast you'll hear, or one of the finer ones you'll hear, She also has a Canva addiction, which she combined with her own Arthur's artwork to come up with some logo art for us. Thank you, Paige.
Thank you, Paige.
Thanks to Aaron Gnurk of the Big Dumb Fun Show for continuing to support us locally. Please join us next week as we keep spooky season going with an episode where we go full spooky true crime as we look into the Hinterkaifeck murders.
Ooh.
Bye!